That old adage, learn from your mistakes, is never more evident than when you're trying to grow your own garlic. It's a long crop where a lot can go wrong, but after growing garlic for the last 12 years, I've narrowed most garlic growing issues to just 4 common planting mistakes. Garlic should be a set it and forget it type of crop. So let's identify and eliminate those 4 common planting mistakes so that we can focus on the epic harvest instead. Garlic is a relatively undemanding long cycle crop that on the one hand is quite low maintenance, while on the other hand, very regimented in its requirements. I've done too many videos showing the steps on how to grow your own garlic, so here's a quick refresher on the basics. Garlic is an 8 to 9 month crop planted in the fall in temperate regions and harvested the following summer. It's planted 1 to 2 inches deep, 4 inches apart, in rows about half a foot apart. Mulch heavily with straw or leaves, and harvest when the foliage begins to fail. Easy stuff, right? So let's look at where things can go wrong. Our first garlic planting mistake is a big one, and that's spacing. Garlic is a loner, and it doesn't like anyone else touching its bulbs. 4 inches minimum all around from other garlic bulbs, and I'd say 8 to 10 inches away from competing plants. For fun, last fall I planted an entire bulb of garlic just to see what would happen. I predicted 2 things. Either they all would die, or they would grow into dozens of tiny garlic plants. Sure enough, they grew tons of little cute, but useless garlic bulbs. Well, usable for the edible foliage, but a disaster in terms of a harvestable garlic crop. Lesson learned, give garlic its space. And that leads us right into mistake number 2, and why we see such small bulbs. That's right, weeds. Again, garlic hates to compete for space. And being such a low maintenance, forget about a crop, we tend to slack on the maintenance. At least, I know I do. And that's when weeds can creep in, competing for space, moisture, and nutrients. Really, stay on top of those weeds and utilize a thick mulch layer to help suppress them during that long growth cycle. Speaking of nutrients, that brings us to our third growing mistake, and that's nutrients, or lack thereof. It's really easy to underfeed your garlic. I know early on, I did all the time. It's a small plant with a limited root system and even more insignificant foliage. The tendency was to plant garlic in the most neglected of beds. After all, it was already fall, winter was imminent, and garlic didn't need much, right? Wrong. Garlic is a surprisingly moderate feeder, and it will most definitely benefit from a good, rich organic soil. Amend your garlic bush with compost and slow-release additives, and watch your garlic harvest skyrocket. Our final garlic growing mistake is quite timely right now because it's time. Or timing. Spring brings many new gardeners to the mix, eager to plant their favorite crops. Naturally, garlic is often one of those, planted in the spring in the fever of anticipation. As we know, to get proper bulbs, garlic for the most part is grown over a wintering period and then harvested the following year. And while garlic readily sprouts and seems to be on the trajectory to greatness, the beginner gardener is more often than not disappointed when their spring garlic planting results in little to no bulbs. That can be frustrating, I get it, but it's probably the single biggest reason that new gardeners don't get a proper garlic harvest. Timing is everything. Resist the urge to plant your garlic in the spring. Ideally, the cloves are planted about a month before your first fall frost. You want the garlic to have time to sprout and develop a root system, but not too much time where it's sprouting large green shoots exposed to the coming winter. So, between September and November for most regions in the Northern Hemisphere. I hate to do an entire video just on the negatives for such a wonderful plant. But garlic truly is one of those crops that's best done by trial and error. Thankfully, a lot of the trials and errors have already been done for us. And all we need to do is avoid these 4 mistakes and let our garlic do the rest. Hey, if you have any other garlic tips that you'd love to share with the community, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. Also, if any of you are on Facebook, head on over and join our gardening group called Growing Better. The group has grown phenomenally fast, yet it will never lose its sense of community or its welcoming feel. If you're passionate about growing epic organic fruits, herbs, and veggies for you and your family, the Growing Better group is a great place to hang out, share, learn, and grow. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you're getting value in this and the other series that I'm doing on YouTube, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you in the next video.